Welcome back, everybody, and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Ed Berliner. We appreciate you being with us all evening here as we have taken and looked at what is happening in Michigan, Mississippi, still nothing from Idaho, but quite frankly, the upset that we talked about in Michigan of Bernie Sanders defeating Hillary Clinton is certainly going to resound heavily tomorrow. But we've talked about the left. Let's now go back and talk about the Republicans. Welcome back the former Illinois Republican Congressman, now president of Flanagan Consulting, Michael Patrick Flanagan. All right, Congressman, let's get to it here. Let's talk about a couple of real simple things here and get these out of the way. Last shot of the night. Marco Rubio has got to stop being delusional at this point. He has a 1% chance now of winning anything. And as a matter of fact, the longer he stays in the race, the longer he hurts his political future, not just the GOP, but his future as well. Because, and I'll throw this out there, what some people are saying. If he thinks he's going to have a chance at governor after doing this badly, he is delusional. What do you think?
I think it's sad. Marco is a Republican young guy who's going to be great in the future. And like Republicans have a tendency to do, they eat their young. And they set this poor guy up to carry all the establishment water by himself and sent him out there to say brutal things and look like a petulant child, and has basically nuked himself, and it's going to take years for him to recover from this.
Do you believe that there were people, you said something real interesting there. Do you believe there are people in the Republican hierarchy who basically knew full well that this is the sacrificial lamb and we're just going to throw him out there?
Yeah, it had to be done. Somebody had to do it, and he said, I'll do it, on the chance that by doing it, he'd become the nominee. And it's bad news. They should have orchestrated a much better plan to deal with Donald other than name-calling and a few errant speeches. It was pathetic all the way around.
All right, John Kasich, nice guy. Thanks for shopping. We really appreciate it. You can go ahead and maybe get a chance at winning your home, but it's not going to happen. He needs to go as well. Yes or no?
I think Kasich can stay as long as Kasich wants to. I think Rubio should stay too. If they think that they have a prayer, stay. But I don't see how bleeding the money can help them. Marco's got to be dry or nearly dry. John is very good with the budget. He really is, personally and otherwise. And if he has the wherewithal to stay, God bless him. You never know what's going to happen in politics. Look at Carson. He got out a weekend too early. Had he not jumped off quickly when he did, they might have had some very different results last week, and certainly at the debate. So it's all about timing. It's all about being there. And I think Kasich, if he has the wherewithal to stay, should.
Timing and being there. Ted Cruz, who many people say is the only true conservative, who is the only one who can defeat Donald Trump, the only one who's won anything really at this point, other than Puerto Rico by Marco Rubio, 1-on-1. But are there still some people, hardcore Republicans, who don't want to vote for him because they just don't like him?
I just don't see Cruz doing as well in a general as Trump. And I know the polling numbers don't bear me out. There's all kinds of real clear politics, this, that, or the other thing. In the final analysis, Trump is a populist and will bring over a bunch of the Bernie voters when he goes away and Hillary takes his spot. And I think that Cruz is a scold, and he's not going to have the cross appeal that we'll need to win. And I think that in the final analysis, Republicans are going to understand that and say, we want Cruz in the government. We want him to be doing things for him. We don't want him to go away. We just can't have him president this time.
In your opinion, if the Republican hierarchy is smart, we're going to get to next Tuesday and Florida. Donald Trump comes in. We've had people on the show tonight who said, look, don't even talk about it, Ed. Donald Trump is going to crush in Florida. But when that happens, is that the sign basically to tell the people in the GOP, sit down, shut up, hold on, this is the guy?
It's an interesting question, and I think the establishment really ought to be doing it now. I saw Trump's press conference. He said he talked to Ryan a few days ago. Romney is still on the prowl. I don't understand that at all. I really just don't understand that. I think that Donald called for unity tonight. That's a very wise thing to do. He ought to keep doing that. And if they don't want to give him unity, he ought to marginalize that tiny portion of the party and run against them. And tell the vast majority of the Republicans to join his side and run against those guys. And he'll do really well with that, particularly with independents and maybe some crossover Ds.
In your opinion, does Donald Trump need to stop the Lion Ted, Lil Marco kind of stuff and start to get down to brass tacks?
If not now, certainly after Florida, it's the name-calling silliness is over, the steaks is over, the wine is over. You're not the grand entrepreneur anymore. I don't want to hear about your hotels. I want you to tell me about how the world's going to be a different place when you're president. And it will be a very different place. Tell us about it. We are all anxious to hear.
20 seconds. Do you think Donald Trump can beat Bernie Sanders one-on-one?
Yes.
And do you think, very well put, do you think, though, there are people who are going to cross over and vote for Bernie to keep Donald Trump from winning?
You asked me that earlier. Let me explain that. No, I don't think you're going to have a lot of Republican bleed over to Bernie, but Bernie will be tougher because he will turn out more Democrats than Hillary will. Way more.
Wanted to get that last word in here to make sure that we got it down there on record. Congressman Michael Patrick Flanagan, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much for staying up late with us. We appreciate it. I want to thank everybody here on the crew. They have been working tirelessly since 7 o'clock this morning in the control room, in the editing booths, producing this. Our producer, David Orth, our director, Greg Kenny, and so many of the other guys and gals. Thank you so much. Your efforts made this possible, made it all work. See you back on the hard line tomorrow night, 6 and 10 Eastern, right here on Newsmax.